As a way of introducing you to the concept of stoichiometry, that is to look at a balanced chemical equation and determine how much of a product you can obtain, what reactant you might run out of first, what your percent yield could be. Let's look at a non-chemical example. So we as a class are going to open up our own sandwich making business, and we're going to have only one sandwich, and we're going to call that sandwich the Saudi. That's right. We're going to call it the Saudi. And the Saudi is going to be comprised of 3 slices of turkey and 2 slices of Swiss cheese and a pickle and 3 tomatoes and of course 1 teaspoon of Miracle Whip, the bread spread from Kraft. And these ingredients will make one Saudi, one sandwich. So what I want us to consider is how many Saudis can we make if we have 84 pieces of turkey, if we have 56 slices of cheese, if we have 37 pickles, if we have 132 tomatoes, and if we have 56 teaspoons of mayonnaise. Now, you can probably intuitively do this problem. However, I want us to use the principles of dimensional analysis so that when we do this in a chemical context, it won't seem too far removed than our sandwich analogy. So let's start with our turkey. We have 84 slices of turkey, and we know that is our conversion factor is that there are 3 slices of turkey in every Saudi. $84 divided by 3 tells us that we will be able to make 28 Saudis, 28 sandwiches. Notice we only consider turkey when we're trying to find how many sandwiches we can make from turkey. We don't take into consideration any other ingredient. So now let's move on to the next one. We have 56 slices of cheese, and our sandwich, because at the Saudi sandwich shop, we only make sandwiches one way, and it's our way. It's kind of reminiscent of the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. If you don't like it, no sandwich for you. So 2 slices of cheese in 1 Saudi. This also allows us to make 28 Saudis. Again, I'm only considering cheese. Next, 37 pickles. And there is 1 pickle for every Saudi. that allows us to make 37 Saudis. Notice I can make more Saudis from pickles than I can from turkey or from cheese. Next we have tomatoes. There are 132 tomatoes. And there are 3 tomatoes in every Saudi. And so we're going to have 132 divided by 3. Which is going to be 44 Saudis can be made from the tomatoes. I can make more Saudis from tomatoes than I can from pickles, than I can from either turkey or cheese. Finally, let's look at the mayonnaise. The mayonnaise, I have 56 teaspoons of mayonnaise, and I have 1 teaspoon of mayonnaise for every Saudi. That means I can make 56 Saudis with respect to the mayonnaise. Now, how many sandwiches can I make? I hope that you realize that the ingredient that allows us to make the fewest number of sandwiches will limit how many sandwiches we can make. That ingredient is called the limiting ingredient. And in chemistry language, that's called the limiting reactant. So let's define a term. The limiting reactant is the reactant and you can think of a reactant as an ingredient that limits how much product can be made. I will run out of this ingredient, and by this ingredient no longer being available, I can no longer make, in our analogy, a Saudi. Because once I'm out of turkey, I can't just throw tomatoes, pickles, and mayonnaise together and call it a Saudi. It's just kind of gross. A sandwich without meat. Vegans, hear me. That's gross. So, once I run out of that reactant, I can't make any more product. The amount of product that I can make is called the theoretical yield. Let's go back to our analogy. We run out of 2 ingredients first. So we have 2 limiting reactants. In this case, they are turkey and cheese. Our theoretical yield is 28 Saudis. That's what we can sell. Now let's imagine we have a crew making these Saudis. And our crew is just a little on the hungry side. And by the time they're done munching on ingredients, they make 14 Saudis. This would be called the actual yield. Theoretical yield is how much I can make if everything is perfect. Actual yield is what I actually make. This leads us to one other important definition called the percent yield. Percent yield is the actual yield divided by the theoretical yield times 100%. In our example, actual was 14 Saudis, theoretical was 28 Saudis. This would be a percent yield of 50%. Our famished workers ate half of our profits. So in your first assignment, you're going to need, I'm going to give you a different analogy, a different sandwich, and you're going to determine how many sandwiches you can make from all the ingredients. You will determine what the limiting reagent is. You will determine what the theoretical yield is. I will give you an actual yield, and you will determine the percent yield. This is to get us started on this conversation of stoichiometry. We will now, in subsequent days, look at chemical examples using the same mathematical principles.